stinging vote today in the U.S. House tonight for President Trump. Democrats, with help from 13 Republicans, voted to overturn the president's national emergency at the border. The measure now goes to the Senate, where there is a real chance it could pass. KCAL9 political reporter Dave Bryan is live tonight in our newsroom with the late details. Dave?
Susie, it's the first time the Democrats have passed a bill to overturn an executive action by President Trump, but it may not be the last. Tonight, the House Democrats are celebrating their victory, along with a few Republicans, to overturn the Trump declaration of a national emergency to fund construction of the border wall, even though the president will veto their bill if the Senate passes it.
Well, we are not going to give any president, Democratic or Republican, a blank check to shred the Constitution of the United States.
When House Speaker Nancy Pelosi lowered the boom on President Trump's national emergency declaration at the border, it was the kickoff of a new political era in Washington, an era where Democrats have control of the House of Representatives and will fight tooth and nail to restrain President Trump's unilateral power to direct national policy. And this was likely the opening salvo of a much more intense Democrat attack on Trump policies, power, and influence.
Is your oath of office to Donald Trump, or is your oath of office to the Constitution of the United States?
On this vote, the yeas are 245, the nays are 182. The joint resolution is passed without objection.
Unfortunately for Pelosi and the Democrats, while their resolution to overturn President Trump's national emergency declaration passed the House in a vote on Tuesday, only 13 Republicans joined them, and that would be far short of what it would take to overturn a presidential veto of the bill, should that be necessary. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy from Bakersfield said there is a national emergency at the border, no matter how much the Democrats declare that it doesn't exist, and the president is obligated to address it.
What we see happening along the border, the amount of drugs, the amount of deaths in America, the human trafficking that's coming across, the overwhelming problem there. So the president has the authority to do it, and we will uphold him.
Now the House-passed bill goes to the Senate, where 3 Republicans are now saying they'll vote with the Democrats in favor of the bill, one short of what it would take to pass it and send it on to the president. Here's what Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski said about Mr. Trump.
He is overstepping into the legislative prerogative.
President Trump has vowed to veto the resolution if it is passed by the Senate. Now, even Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell told reporters today he's not sure about whether the president's emergency declaration is constitutional or not. McConnell says the Senate will vote on the bill before the March congressional recess. But again, we mentioned earlier, if the Democrats' emergency declaration repeal bill is vetoed by the president, supporters of the bill don't appear to have anywhere near enough votes to overturn that veto. Jeff, back to you.